The NBA Finals have come and gone, and we have a new NBA champion. How did our predictions look? The NHL hockey is picking up some steam, and we might have some drama brewing. The Major League Baseball season is finally the sport that I will be focusing on, and we discuss what we're expecting out of the future. What are we drinking? What are we praying for? What teams will be projecting the season records for? This is another episode of your Box Score and Bourbon.
Look at the box scores.
Box scores
and bourbon.
We check each other's box scores and scores online.
Baseball box scores.
So football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey.
Box scores and bourbon.
We begin today's episode on a solemn note, as most of us have already heard. Yesterday, at the age of 93, the baseball great Willie Mays passed away. Over the years, people have asked me who is my favorite baseball player of all time, and for several years, I struggled with that. Even as a young kid, so many great players I could think of. But as I got older, the answer was more and more clearly Willie Mays. Willie Mays was the first five-tool player that we had in Major League Baseball. Imagine this, the five tools: hit for power, base run, throw, and play defense. So imagine a center fielder with the skills of Jim Edmonds. Imagine an outfield arm of Yoenis Cespedes. Imagine a base runner of Ricky Henderson. Imagine the hitter of Tony Gwynn. And imagine the prolific power of a Barry Bonds or a Babe Ruth. And what did you have? You had one player. You had Willie Mays. Willie Mays did all five of those things well, and he did them well for over 2 decades. The baseball world is saddened by the loss of this man. There have been many, many major leaguers, both past and current, that have gleaned from this man's knowledge of the game. And the world has lost a great icon, not only on the field, but also culturally off the field. This man lived his life on the field. He left it all on the field. And the example that he led with was the game that he played on the field as well. Jackie Robinson once chimed in on Willie Mays and said, "You're not doing enough for the civil rights cause, Willie. What are you going to do about it?" And Willie just responded with a statement like, "My job is to do the best I can on the field, and I'm going to let my play speak for itself." And Willie did just that, and he did that for 24 years. One of my favorite fun facts about Willie Mays' career is the fact that he started 0 in his rookie season of 1951, and then Warren Spahn gave up a homer to Willie Mays, and Warren Spahn joked, said, "Well, if I didn't give up that homer, no one would have ever heard of Willie Mays." Willie Mays would have found a way. But Willie Mays also struggled off the diamond, and his manager at the time, Leo DeRoche, took him aside, said, "You're the best center fielder I've ever seen. You go out and you play ball." And at the end of that rookie season, he was the one standing on deck when Bobby Thompson hit the famed shot her around the world for the Giants to win the pennant. Willie Mays didn't get his shot in 51, but he got his shot in 1954 and beyond after his tour in the Army. Willie Mays will be missed. Willie Mays was one of the best to ever do it. And as his godson, Barry Bonds, once said, this man knows more about baseball than anyone that I've ever talked about. He was an intelligent man, and God bless you, Willie Mays. Rest well. I was in a dead of sleep. Not dead of sleep. I was in a dead of nap when I got the news that Willie Mays died, and it took me a little bit to kind of actually understand what I had just read, because this man had been a part of my life. I never got the chance to see him play, of course. I'm only 38 years old, but Every ball player that I've watched growing up, Buster Posey, Barry Bonds, Griffey, whoever it is, all of these men, they took from Willie Mays. They took from him, and so it was sad for me to see that. Of course, it doesn't hit me anywhere near as close as it does his family, but as a baseball fan, it's a crappy loss. But I think the fact that it hits so hard just goes as a testament to just how great of not just a ball player but a person that he was off the field. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers to Willie Mays
Cheers.
and cheers to the episode.
Cheers to everything.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. So we have a new NBA champion.
We do.
And finally, people can shut up about is Boston going to do it. Now we can pick a new narrative. Look, I'm going to wrap up that series in 3 sentences or maybe less. I don't know. I didn't count the sentences. Okay. Luka found out the hard way that in order to get to the top, you need to be able to play your top game, and you need to, and hopefully he's learning from this. Hopefully he takes from this loss, he learns from it. And then Boston, because I'll let you speak to Dallas and Boston too. It's about damn time. I honestly, I don't understand how like Boston's such an enigma that I got to a point to where I was even doubting Boston could do it.
You were.
And even with this roster is easily like 8 men deep. Each of those 8 men could easily be a starting member of a front 5.
Yeah.
On any other NBA squad.
For sure.
That's how deep this team is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, right, it just goes to show now we can call them a serious team. We can call them that now. But Jason Tatum's still an enigma to me.
You don't like him. You don't like Tatum at all.
I don't think I do. I like his ruffles. His chips are good. But I will give him a little bit of credit just based on just the fact that, look, Game 5, they needed a closer. That dude closed. He shut it down. He shut it down. And he dominated on the floor on both sides. That dude, that dude was the most efficient I've seen a player all season. And he showed it on the biggest stage during the biggest time. And so to that, I will give him credit, and hopefully, he'll grow into that player. My door just slammed. He'll grow into that player that Boston has claimed that he is, this 1A, this alpha type guy.
Yeah. He finished, I think he ended up doing in Game 5, he ended up doing like a 20, 10, and 8, which is he averaged, he got 20, 10, and 8.
He had 44 minutes. He had 44 minutes. I think he had 31 points. 31 points.
Yeah.
So
his statistic line was something that I hadn't seen before, and I don't know that I've seen that from him in these playoffs. It was something that was unexpected, I guess. I don't have hatred. I don't have hatred for Jason Tatum like you have hatred for Jason Tatum.
I don't have a hatred for him. I don't even know the man. I don't understand the dude. I don't understand what player I'm going to see.
Yeah.
I just don't.
But
he's for his talents, he's extremely inconsistent.
Yeah. But since I've been paying attention to Tatum when he came into the league, I think he's been in the league 6 years now. He's never been like the clutch player, the dominant player. And I think we've discussed this multiple times that he's a really good role player when it comes to like a well-rounded athlete and well-rounded scorer. His defense, you can say, maybe leaves a little bit to be desired, but the way that he played that game was another level from what we have grown accustomed to seeing, which is, from my perspective, not a bad player. I've never seen Tatum. I'm sure we can sit here and say, Tatum, you've had a bad game, but he's never been a player that we can say like, oh, he doesn't have insert whatever in.
Yeah.
But he took everything he had and he took it all to the next level. Granted, the game was pretty much over after the first half. They were up by 20. They went up by
Yeah.
23 with the miraculous half court shot. So the game was over. So I don't know how much of how much of the Dallas kind of probably being defeated at halftime had to do with him kind of just balling and kind of controlling, making sure that the game was closed out in fashion or whatever. But he
Yeah.
well, what it's worth, he stepped up. He did his job. He did his job better than he was probably needing to do,
Mhm.
and he made sure that his team. There was no doubt that they were going to win that game, which was by all means what we
Yeah.
all expected to see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's kudos to them. Kudos to the Celtics. Kudos to Joe Mazzulla for doing something that Brad Stevens never could do. So
Now,
let's
are you shading Brad Stevens? What is this comment coming from? Because I know he didn't win. Yes, factually, he didn't win a championship as a head coach
no,
for the
I'm not.
Celtics.
It's not. It's not a shade. I remember when they got Brad Stevens. When they plucked him from Butler? Was that where he was
I
at?
don't
Butler.
remember. I don't
And
remember.
let's just say Butler. And so but some school only known for one thing. Okay, the so I think it was Butler, but they plucked him from Butler like, oh, next great thing, he's gonna do amazing things. And then as an exec, yeah, he knows how to build a team, but as a coach, he never really could quite get it together.
Yeah,
And so but I mean, Brad Stevens was the one that assigned Missoula the position of head coach
yeah.
of Boston. And
Well,
so
overall,
Brad
he's
Stevens gets
really good
credit
at
for
yeah,
orchestrating the team.
yeah. He's really good at the basketball. Like he's good at the basketball operations because I think he
Yeah.
led the Celtics to the. I think my timing is right. He's the one that led the Celtics to the NBA Finals when they faced off against the Warriors, right? I
Mm-hmm.
believe that's
Yeah.
accurate. But just like his coaching style, I
Yeah.
don't know if he was like his strategy behind like game plays or whatever, not just wasn't there, but he knows basketball really well. So the kudos
Yeah.
for that organization to realizing like he's still a great asset to have, but just not on the court. He still knows
Yeah.
how to build a team. He built a great
Yeah.
team since he's been there. He's consistently added good pieces. So I was happy to see that he still in a way can say that he got a championship for the Boston Celtics because every time that I
Yeah.
saw what he was doing with the team,
Mhm.
it resonated of I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was
Yeah.
making sure. I'm like, you're not hating on him right now because I think what he's done is great.
No, because Brad Stevens is the one that orchestrated the team.
Right. Okay.
It's really more of just all those years of, oh, Brad Stevens is going to get us there and get us to the promised land. Well, he got to the promised land, just not in the position Danny H put him in.
Right.
So, but yeah, and just one more word on Dallas. Dallas, you hear about all these teams about the teams when they flunk out of the playoffs. Okay, well, they need a big, they need a prolific shooter, they need a lead guy, they need an alpha dog. I believe Dallas already has all those pieces in play.
Mm-hmm.
They already do. Dallas has a good team. They've got they got a very good foundation to build
They
on,
do.
and
They also have a lot of young
hopefully, and
players, which is a good
that's what
thing.
I'm saying. That's the foundation. If
Yeah.
you can get PJ and PJ and Gafford and Lively and Green. If you can get all of them, all of this was just seasoning. This was all seasoning for them. And Luka, I mean, it's not like he's ancient either. What is he, 25?
Yeah, he's only been in the league for 5 years
So
or
I
so,
mean,
5 or 6, something like that too.
he's young too, and this was great for him. This was an awesome experience for him to be able to get to the finals, for him to be able to see, okay, yes, we were able to climb through the cream of the crop of the Western Conference, which is it's just the NBA is so weird. The Western Conference is the toughest conference, but the best team was in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
It's such a weird setup and just an odd it it just seems silly to me
It
sometimes
just
that
doesn't make
we got
sense.
through the best conference, but we haven't played the best team yet. Then it's just like the parody there just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
But maybe that's the definition of parody.
Yeah,
But
that is it.
Jason Kidd's got this team on the right track.
I think so.
Jason Kidd being extended for 5 years on the eve of the playoffs was the right call
Yeah.
by the Dallas ownership. This is and that the only thing they're going to be hoping for. I don't know if it happened yet. If Kyrie's going to be re-signing with
I
Dallas,
think
or
he
if he already
resigned him
has.
last year. I think that was the whole point when they traded
The
for him.
day
He was on a
I
year.
didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't. Okay,
That's
I
how
didn't
they
know if
kept
that
him
was going
because
to be beyond this year.
when they traded him, well, my caveat is I don't know how long I can't remember how long the contract is, but
Yeah,
when they traded for
that's
him
not. Yeah.
from Boston, it was an expiring contract, so they had to re-sign him. I want to say they
Okay.
have him for 3 years, so they don't. If my
Okay.
memory serves me right, yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but
All right.
well, here's my thing about Dallas. Like it's shitty to phrase it this way, but I don't have a better way to phrase it. I'm glad they lost in the finals in a way because I think it'll make them better and it'll make them really appreciate the grind that they need to go through
Oh
to
yeah.
actually become
Yeah.
champions. Because everything,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
culmination of the Boston Celtics is the fact that they finally
Yeah.
made the finals and
Mhm.
won it. But if we look back at the
Yeah.
last 4 years,
Yeah.
they lost to
Mhm.
Milwaukee when Milwaukee won their
Mhm.
championship, and then they lost a really
Yeah.
tough Game 7 against Miami when Miami went to the championship. Now, of course, Miami didn't win it that year, but
Yeah.
they made it to
Mhm.
the finals, and they were there
Yeah.
finally. And then the Warriors came into town and
Yeah.
kicked their ass. So they've
Mhm.
suffered a lot,
Yeah.
and it got them to the where
Yeah.
they know what to expect and kind of
Yeah.
they earned it. They like their sweat, blood, and tears. They finally earned it. And Dallas is kind of like
Yeah.
right in line with that trajectory. They made the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago,
Yeah.
2022, and now they made the
Yeah.
finals.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
lost in the Western Conference Finals. They found a way to get past that. Now they've made it to the finals, and now they need to figure out what's that piece or what is that whatever it is that they're missing to get over the NBA
Mhm.
Finals and finally win it. And I don't think it's gonna be an
Yeah.
if Luka's gonna win a championship. I think everybody that you ask that follows basketball can safely say there's no way in hell that Luka is not going to win a championship in his career. He
Yeah.
himself can
He
carry.
will.
He
He
whether it's
will.
with
Yeah.
Dallas, I think it'll be with
Mhm.
Dallas because of what they're building around him. I think it'll be with Dallas in the next few years. I'm not
Yeah.
even saying like
Mhm.
5 years, like in the next 2 3 years, maybe even next year they'll be
Yeah.
competitive enough. But
Mhm.
yeah, he'll get a championship, and him
Yeah.
going through all this, it'll make it
Yeah.
worthwhile for him. But here's my thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that
Yeah.
I hope
I think. Go
he
ahead.
learned about it. I hope that Luka Doncic realized that it's going to take more than him dominating the ball to win a championship because he really in this whole series operated
Yeah.
under like I don't care how my team is doing, I can carry the team, and I on with the team on my back, I can single-handedly win as a team. And that's just not the way that
Mhm.
the NBA
Yeah.
teams are built anymore. You need depth, you need solid teammates across the board, and
Yeah.
hoping that he realized that he needs to trust his I don't know,
Yeah.
trust is not the right word, but be able to say, "Hey, bring up my players with me," instead of if my players are falling down, I'll do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah. Yeah. Because all right, and so I see next year in the Western Conference, the top three teams as it stands will be Denver, OKC, and Dallas. Those will be the top three teams. And
Yeah,
if 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 I'm not saying Dallas needs this because I think PJ is going to grow into himself even more and be just that much more of a consistent, prolific shooter that Dallas needs. But even if Dallas went out and they said, okay, well, let's go get a third shooter. Let's go get somebody, that's not Kyrie. Like using Kyrie maybe in that Drew Holiday role for Dallas, and then you have Luca, and you have PJ, and then Lively can already shoot. I mean, this keep on the train with Boston. He's the equivalent to just a young Horford, and so and then you just go get a shooter,
right.
um, uh, a third shooter. I think that would would bode well because then it would take some of that pressure off of Kyrie whenever Luka's not on his game.
Yeah. No, I agree. And wrapping back around to the Celtics, we called the X factor being Drew Holiday, and 100% Drew Holiday was the deciding
Yep.
factor for him. And I wasn't tracking this stat, but he's the first player in NBA history to win a championship on the first year that he's been on a new team. The first year that he was with the Bucks, he won the championship with them, and then this is the first year with the Celtics, and he won a championship with them. So that's, man, I don't know if he's like the seed of whatever drive or whatever he has in the locker room, but something about him being part of that teams make them winners. So by all
Yeah,
means, like,
true.
keep doing. If you
Yeah,
want to win a championship, trade for Drew Holiday. That apparently is the lesson that we need to learn about these playoffs.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah. It, but it was the series kind of unfolded. I know I picked Dallas to win in 6
we did.
after game 1. I was like, I mean, it's kind of, and especially after game 3, I was like,
Oh yeah,
I don't even see Dallas winning one game in this. I just don't.
no.
So, but let's shift over to the NHL playoffs where Mr. Canada 2.0, Connor McDavid, is putting on a Stanley Cup final show for the ages. It's crazy how much that dude has. Like, I don't know what happened in games 1 through 3, but there was something woke up McDavid. I don't know if Connor thought the season was over. I don't know what was happening, but games 4 and 5 back to back, he's got 4-point performances back to back. And so this dude he's absolutely on the top of his game as he was in the regular season. He could, if it would be something special if 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 Connor McDavid was the guy that brought a Stanley Cup back to Edmonton
Hmm.
when the last guy to do it was Wayne Gretzky. So I would that would be something awesome to see if that could happen. It's still it's a 3-2 series lead. Florida still has a slight edge. I don't know what's happened with Bobrovsky. Got
I
no
don't know.
clue. I don't know
I
what's
kind of
going on
told you.
there.
I kind of raised the red
Uh,
flag on how he was having to
yeah.
be on his A game for that, and it seems like it's run out.
Mm-hmm. And it may have. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. He's 34 years old.
Yep.
So having him back there and then having the Conor Smythe Trophy finalist be the guy to kind of blow up his world, so to speak, the last 2 games. Well, game and a half because he was pulled within what I think after the second period
Yep.
of game 4, he was Bobrovsky was pulled. So for the last game and a half, so yeah, he has owned the Florida goalies. He has owned them.
Yeah.
And I don't see it stopping. I don't. I still think Florida's the most complete team. But like I said, like I've said this entire Stanley Cup playoff, that hockey is the one sport that is the hardest to predict because there is no home ice advantage.
Right.
There's not, because there's no, we're on offense, now we're on defense. No, you're on offense, defense at the same time.
Hmm.
So like there's no advantage there. You can have the best goalie and you can still fall apart. Ask the Rangers. That you can, but Florida's still good at every aspect of the game. But if they're flailing at the goalie position, if Bobrovsky's just falling apart now, I don't understand. I mean, like that's your last line of defense from the goal not getting into the net is the goalie. And so if your goalies aren't operating the way they should, then I I don't know what to tell you.
There's not much else
It's
you
not like
can
they
do
can just
about
go out and
that.
they can't go make a trade now. Like it's too late. So I think,
I mean, and
so
by default, like,
if
if your goalie's slacking, you can't freaking put 2 goalies out there.
yeah,
He's literally the last guy that can stop the puck.
yeah. So I mean, honestly, it's just it's it's it if Bobrovsky can't get it together, then you're really not slowing Edmonton down at all. Florida can be as good as they want at every aspect of the game, but like I said, if Bobrovsky is shut down, if he just doesn't have it,
Yeah.
I can't see why Edmonton doesn't just win the last two games and just take it 4-3. I don't see why that doesn't happen or how that couldn't happen.
It is impressive.
So
It would be impressive. I don't know if it's just a too big of a hill to climb at this point. Whatever they're doing, that way they've been doing the last two games has been working really well.
Yeah.
I think they scored 8 game
Yeah.
4 and then 6 yesterday for game 5, something like that. So five game.
5.
So
Yeah.
like their scoring
Mhm.
has woken up, considering they got shut for the most part, completely shut out in the first 3
Yeah.
games. But
Yeah.
I just don't know
Which,
if they can
if
be
you
perfect.
can't, okay, yeah,
They have to be perfect. That's my thing. They have to be perfect. I don't know if they have that.
they don't, yeah, and I'm with you because I don't. Bobrovsky gave up 4 goals when he got pulled
Hmm.
in Game 4. He gave them up real quick, and then he gave up 5 goals yesterday. Let's
Yeah.
say 4 goals because I think one was an empty netter. So 8 goals. Okay, if he can just give up 2 goals, I mean maybe 3 at the most. Maybe they're out there. Hey, don't give up more than 3. We got this. If you don't give up more than 3, we don't have a 4 goal game in us anymore. We did that at the beginning of the series. It's just, yeah, yeah. We'll see what happens. I forget the name of their main defender, but he was just like, yeah, we weren't playing with any pressure. Yeah, it's really easy to say that when you're down 3-2 and not 0-3. When you're only down
Right.
by 1 game and not 3 games, yeah, it's really easy to say, oh, there's no pressure. We're fine. So, I mean, there's probably pressure. They're playing with a different head on their shoulders. But
They are.
if it's just, this is it's going to be a strange series. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
If it goes
I wouldn't
7,
be surprised if Florida closed. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida closed it in 6. If Edmonton won it in 7, I wouldn't be surprised. The way this series has unfolded, when just all of a sudden, just this cliff. I mean, like Bobrovsky falling off a cliff, like he was one of the swine Jesus told the demon to go into. Like he's just falling straight down. Like it's just like I don't know what happened here. So
it was rough. It's been rough watching him.
It's just he was solid the first 3 games, and all of a sudden, like 8 goals.
Where did the acrobatic Bobrovsky go that we were hyping here after game 2? Like, oh, this man's doing 360s. He's saving goals on his back. Now he's not rotating quick enough from right to left, and they're scoring on his backside.
Yeah, he needs to go talk to Al Horford and say, hey, how do you do this ageless magic?
How do you play sports after your 30s? This is hard.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised. It's a fun series. It's fun, but it's not fun the way I thought it would be.
No, I thought it was going to go back and forth.
It would be 3-0 and then 2-0 and then now it's a best of 3.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to happen. So yeah, we'll see.
So here's the thing I have about that. I'm not sitting here and saying, "Oh, I hate when people sit there and say, well, you better watch out. Don't let them win game 6. Then they're going to be game 7. They're going to be so riled up and be ready to go. You have to win game 6. So I don't like the foreshadowing whenever it's like that far deep. But I will say this.
Yeah.
If Florida does not pull it off in game 6, which, again, Edmonton has to continue to play perfect games, which is hard. It's a hard ask. But if Florida does not win game 6, they are not winning the championship.
Yeah.
That is the stance that I will take. I'm more confident in saying that they will win game 6. The Florida will win game 6, and then this whole conversation will be mute. But if it for some reason do not, I don't see it. I don't see them winning it in 7 because they'll be too demoralized. They'll feel their mental space will be too rattled, saying that they had a 3-0 series and then they choked it, and all of a sudden it's sudden death. it's going to be a lot of pressure and
Yeah.
it's going to take a lot of resilience to be able to keep your mind straight after messing up a 3-0 lead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No. For real. It's I don't know.
It's
I'm at a loss. I don't
I know
even know.
both of us are sitting
It's
here
just
and
it's
not
just so
understanding what the
weird.
hell's going on. That's just put it that way. We both are sitting
I
here
don't
and
even know
don't
what
know.
I'm watching. Like I don't. Yeah, I don't even understand what I'm watching. So
Yeah, I don't either.
yeah.
I wasn't expecting Edmonton to win. Like I went over the scores, 8. What was it? 8-1. Is that how much Florida scored? I wasn't expecting them to obliterate the team. I was expecting them to be competitive
Yeah.
and win and like have a good game. I was not expecting them to continuously obliterate Florida. So I don't know what
Yeah.
to expect anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yep.
We'll see. But we'll move on to baseball because now we are full steam ahead, JB. We're moving forward. Baseball is the
Yes,
only
we
sport.
are.
Baseball is the only sport that matters from now until September, and then football takes over.
Ain't that the truth?
Once
Ain't that the
once the
truth?
pennant is up for
What
grabs,
a
then we won't really care about baseball. Apparently.
what what a wonderful sentiment. I am so excited. We got so one of our listeners, Lucy, um, messaged and said she was really excited that we were talking about the Yankees, but now she wants to hear more about the other teams too because she's a huge Yankee fan.
Whoop whoop.
She loves the Yankees. She's a huge Yankee fan. She knows how much it pains me to talk about the Yankees in a positive light. So,
Well, let's not talk.
and
We won't sit here and talk about the Yankees in depth. But major news that we need to address. There's major news that we need to
Garrett,
address. Garrett Cole
you mean
is
you
back,
mean you mean
baby.
that you mean the heart and soul Anthony Rizzo
Yeah,
is out for
out.
8 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that I don't know what that scrub coming off the IL is, but Anthony Rizzo's out for 8 weeks. I don't
No.
know what you're gonna do without that 630 OPS. I don't know how you're gonna survive. I don't know what you're gonna do.
His
Plug some random
.20,
AAA player.
his 200 batting average is there's nobody that we can replace him with. No, Garrett Cole is back.
You know what's fun?
No,
I know.
Garrett Cole is back.
I wanted to say one thing about the Yankees about their farm system. When they said that Ben Rice was coming up to play first for the Yankees, I was like, I didn't even know Cashman had a minor league system for the Yankees.
No, as far as I knew.
I didn't even know they drafted people. I just thought they bought everyone. Their minor league system is just vapid, and so they just go and they just buy all these random minor league free agents.
Yeah.
Why don't you come fill our squads?
Yeah.
We don't even have a draft.
They're never.
I'm not even tracking.
They never even make they always rank like farm systems of the teams, and Yankees are never even tickling the top 30. They're not even. They're not.
Most of my childhood, my teenage years, my early 20s, the Yankees won because they bought players.
Yep.
That's how they won. And so I'm not saying they didn't have players. They didn't have Jeter come up and whatnot. And they don't have Judge and Volpe or whatever. But they bought players.
Yeah, they always buy
bought wins.
Yeah. Well,
Like
they didn't buy wins.
Yankees, Paul O'Neill. Oh, they bought him. One of my favorite Yankees, Paul O'Neill, was a Cincinnati Red. They bought him. Like he came in. Freaking Mark Teixeira, Jason Giambi,
Yeah.
Mike Mussina, Roger Clemens.
Well, if you have all the money,
these are all players. These are all players they brought in.
Well, maybe like the Athletics need to take some lessons from the Yankees because if you have the money and you want to win, what are they doing wrong? It's the way you need to do business.
Treat the A's like it's a dorm room cupboard. What you got in there? All right, I'll take it. Come here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, besides the Yankees, we won't continue to since we need to cover all of baseball. What has been on your mind?
No, but what's been on my mind lately, outside of the Willie Mays death, Garrett Cole coming back, of course,
right,
is huge. I want to go to a little place called Denver, Colorado. Okay,
God.
I want to.
Are you sure?
Stay there that long,
Are you sure you want to go there?
We get drudged in. So we get drudged in mediocrity as well. No, there's a player that just it reminds me of this recurring theme of the Rockies, right? Okay, so all right. Well, let me get to him. Okay, so if you if you go back in history toward since the 2000s, right? You go back in history and you look at the left side of that infield, third and short. Okay, you had Nolan Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
He's no longer there.
Right.
Trevor Story was great when he was healthy. Troy Tulowitzki, who I think many people have forgotten about, that dude was a superstar in the making, but he can never stay healthy. And now they got a guy named Ezekiel Tovar. Ezekiel Tovar is sitting there, and he is tearing up the National League right now. And no one is even talking about this guy because he plays for the freaking Colorado Rockies. All right? This dude, I think, is he's in the top 5 in hits in the National League. Now he hasn't been lighting the world on fire with the rest of his stats, but the kid's only 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's 22, and it just takes me back to just even when Arenado was with the Rockies, and the Rockies just wasted away his whole career because there was a time Arenado and Tulowitzki were on the same. They played next to each other. And the Rockies did hardly anything at all. And so I remember, funnily enough, there was a trade proposal that the Cubs had made with the Rockies. So Chris Bryant was under team control, and Arenado was not. And so they wanted to Arenado signed that big deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
The Cubs, the proposal was, we'll give you Chris Bryant, you give us Arenado straight up. And I was like, please do it. Please. And I loved KB. I loved watching. He assisted on the final out of the 2016 World Series. I will forever be indebted to the man. And he hit a walk-off homer against the Rockies in 2015. I'll never forget where I was when it happened. But when that was reported, I was like, please, let's have Nolan Arenado in blue pinstripes. Please bring him here. And now he's just a Cub killer with the Cardinals.
Yep.
So that breaks my heart. But I was just thinking about that today. I was thinking about the Rockies and how they have these players that just do so well. And like I remember the 90s Rockies. You had Dante Pichette. You had Vinny Castillo. You had Todd Helton. You had who was the other one? Vinny Castillo, Dante Pichette, Todd Helton. There was a third one, and I'm blanking on his name, but he was also Larry Walker. You had these prolific guys on the Colorado Rockies, and the Rockies. They weren't a team that you could just kick around, but they were also not a team that really did anything either. But it's just reminiscent of the Rockies have these homegrown players, and they do nothing. I don't know. They do nothing with this team.
Isn't that very, very much like the Padres of lately? The Pirates have had what was it, like 6 players that they've had on the roster that they traded away and won World Series with their next team. I think that's the Padres.
The Padres?
Not the Padres, the Pirates.
Oh, the Pirates?
Mm-hmm.
The Pirates had a loaded rotation and they traded everybody.
Yeah.
And they've done nothing since. So
exactly.
And they're going to do nothing now, especially, if you got Paul Skeens and Jared Jones and Mitch Keller and hell, even Bailey Falter. He's not a scrub either. They got a rotation that could compete with anybody, but the Pirates refuse to go buy a bat. Like, just go get a bat. Go get a thumper. Go get someone to play first base. We have the DH in the National League now. You can get anyone you want. Just go get somebody who can mash the crap out of the ball and then let them go to work.
Well, don't panic. Don't panic. They're tied for second place. It is not like it is.
I'm not.
It is not in the MLB way to trade for players early. They will trade for a player, probably trade for a player at the deadline.
No,
so don't panic. Stupid. Don't panic, JB.
Stupid. It's so stupid. You trade early.
But
why not? Why not?
I don't know. Ask the NFL. They don't do that either. They want to keep the excitement going. But we can't keep talking about baseball and not talk about some other major news that happened in the West Coast with our common disinterest, with Mookie Betts getting injured and out of the rotation for the
I
Dodgers.
know.
God, what a blow that's
I
going to
know.
be. It's not showing
Mookie
right now.
Betts and Yamamoto.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Yamamoto.
Mookie Betts and Yamamoto. That was just, and they're out. I haven't seen a timeline about how long either one of them is going to be out.
I haven't either.
But I just know that I've heard that it's a long-term injury.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't heard for how long. I've looked and looked and looked. I have no idea how long they're going to be out for.
I mean, Mookie Betts is a
So,
risk. They can't rush that back. That's going to keep him out for a while. So I don't know what kind of injury it is either.
Yeah.
It's just a wrist injury. He took a rogue ball to the wrist.
He took a fastball to the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took a fastball to the
exactly.
wrist. Yeah.
So that one, I feel
Yamamoto,
like he's out for a while. I don't know what happened.
Isn't Yamamoto's a tricep injury or a forearm? I think it's a tricep injury.
He might not come. He might not be out too long.
Yeah.
I don't know how injuries work. I'm not a doctor, but I would think that Yamamoto's probably going to come back sooner than Mookie Betts just because of the injury that Mookie Betts took. Because if he's out for that long and it's a wrist injury, there's no 80% good wrist. You either have a good wrist or you don't have a good wrist.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
So
this is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I saw the Yamamoto news, the Yamamoto news, and then shortly, like a day later, is when Betts got hit in the hand, and I was like, oh, geez, this is not good. And it was funny because I believe the Dodgers picked up Kevin Biggio. I believe it was to try to keep Kike Hernandez's bat out of the lineup. Well, I don't know how that's going to go now, because like now you have to use Kike Hernandez in the lineup now. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm wondering too. So there were news of the Dodgers. There was a rumor the Dodgers making a splash at the trade deadline, and Kike's batting. He's got a 573 OPS. Yeah, I remember when they got Kevin Biggio, they're like, "Oh, someone's going to be hurt, so let's just let's go with that." I think we lost. I think Manny's gone.
I'm here.
Manny is gone. What happened to him? Where'd he go? Manny, where'd you go?
I was here the entire time. Hey. I never went nowhere. I've been here.
I've been here the whole time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was
the whole time.
But I was saying that there was a rumor that the Dodgers are going to make a splash at the deadline, and I was talking to one of our loyal listeners who's a Dodger fan.
Oh, great!
And he was like, "I don't know who it's going to be." And I said, "Imagine this." I said, "Imagine this." I said, "I think it could be," and this was before Verlander hit the IL. I said, "I could see the Dodgers trading for Justin Verlander and Alex Bregman."
Dang.
At the deadline. And then I said I could also see them trade for Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert from the White Sox. And I said, in part because the Padres want Garrett Crochet. And so I know the Dodgers will do anything they can to screw over the Padres.
Just to not let them.
Just because.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because. So that would be interesting. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see the Dodgers go out and make a big splash that way. Because the Dodgers have shown us time and again that they are regular season champs.
Right.
But when it comes to the playoffs, they are just complete disaster areas. And so if they could go out and just, like, you just went out, you got Yamamoto, you just spent $1 billion this offseason. You still have a loaded farm system. Go out and do what you did when you got Scherzer and Trey Turner. Go out and get Verlander and Alex Bregman. Except this time, these guys are rentals. So being able to go out there and to get these guys, Bregman's, I don't know about Verlander, but Bregman will be a rental. But you can put Bregman at third. You can now the need is almost absolutely obvious because with Mookie out, Cavan was playing third because Muncie's never healthy. Kike is always healthy, and that's a problem because he can't hit worth a damn. And so if you go out and you get Bregman to play third, Cavan to play short, then you can kind of uphold that. And Verlander's just icing on the cake because the Dodgers' kryptonite is starting pitching. It always is.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 9 caliber starting pitchers who could be number 2s and 3s on any rotation, most rotations.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they are always hurt. They're always hurt, it seems. And so if they can go out and just go get just another dude, and like even if Verlander's on the IL, who cares? Go get him. You know that once those bright lights of October come on, you won't even need the bullpen that day. Verlander's like, no, sit down. There's a clip of Mike Mussina yelling at Joe Torre. No, sit down. Sit down. You're not taking me out of this game. That's Verlander. Verlander's going to be yelling at Dave Roberts. You sit your ass down. I'm finishing this game.
Yeah.
Okay? I ain't coming out of here.
Yeah.
So this is going to be and honestly, like I would love to see the Dodgers do something like that. That would be fun to see. A mega squad.
I want to analyze something. What is the goal of the Dodgers? I'm struggling to figure them out. Like, are they like all in for the year this year, and they're gonna trade all their major key players away, or is their owner to the point where it's really like a sustainable thing, and they're just gonna have every good player that they want, and they don't really care about what the profit loss is? I'm struggling to figure out how they're operating.
I think their MO is the 90s, early 2000s Yankees.
Just buy everybody.
I think that's what it is. Just, I mean, like, okay, so think about it. I mean, you have Gavin Lux, you have Will Smith,
Mm-hmm.
you have Bobby Wilson, you have the guys on your team that you brought up. You have Andy Paget. You have these guys that are in the system that they've brought up, and they've said, okay, you are a homegrown Dodger. But the rest of these guys, Freeman, Mookie, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Betts. I mean, I already said Betts. But these guys, these are all guys brought in from outside the organization. And I mean, no one's going to sit there and tell me that the Dodgers lost the Mookie trade.
No, definitely not. I think people are at the
Dodgers
point.
won that trade.
Yeah, I think people are at the point where they just associate Mets with the Dodgers. I think they forget that he was on a team prior to the Dodgers. He's just like a Dodger at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely won
yeah.
that.
So, but if you just, I mean, like they have, and the difference between the Dodgers and the Yankees of yesteryear are that the Dodgers have a sustainable farm system. They've got guys that are always coming up to help. Forever and always. And then they have the dudes that can just make a phone call. Oh, let's bring Chris Taylor back. Oh, let's bring Kike Hernandez back. Let's just bring these guys up. So,
but my concern is is more, I guess, on the buying the players side. Is it sustainable? Is my thing. Is that aspect of things
absolutely
and keeping them and trading for them? Because obviously. Because you can trade for players, have them on a rental or whatever, expiring contracts and whatever. But is it sustainable? Is my concern.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sit there and analyze their books and say like, oh, they have tons of money rolling in. But it just doesn't seem like it's a sustainable approach.
No, I think the Dodger ownership, and who's the baseball president of operations, Andrew Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
Their focus is the next 3 to 4 years, maybe even 5 years. While they have this core of Freeman and Mookie and Yamamoto and Ohtani, while they have this core, they don't care how much it costs. They don't care who has to leave in order for a player to come in. They just don't care. And they are willing to do whatever. And as much as I hate the Dodgers, I hate them. I hate them with the power of 1,000 suns. I admire the hell out of that ownership group and out of and out of that front office, they are willing. They have shown they are willing to do what it takes to try and bring multiple championships to Southern California.
Well,
And I can't
let's
say
not
that
throw around
about
the
many
word
other teams.
multiple. Let's not throw around the word multiple loosely.
I said try. Try.
Let's try for
They've
one.
won
We're gonna
one.
try for one.
They won one, and that was when the season was the length of the spring training. Okay,
That's right.
They won
Oh yeah,
one. All right?
I never give them credit for
Yeah.
the COVID year championship, but I guess okay,
And
sure.
they honestly
Their
they
mantra
should have won
worked.
two. They should have won two when Yu Darvish was quote unquote tipping his pitches. Yeah, of course he's tipping his pitches when the Houston center field camera is transferring feeds out Jose Altuve banging on trash cans in a dugout. Yeah, of course. It's not like the Dodgers haven't been to the World Series.
They have.
They've been 3 times. They lost to the Sox.
Yep.
They lost to the Astros. And then who was it they beat? Was it the Rays? They beat the Rays
I don't think it was the Rays.
in the World Series.
I don't think
It was the Rays.
Was it?
It was the Rays that year. Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah, that was the shortened season.
Yeah, whatever. Fucking
But-
40 seasons.
But this
40
ownership
games.
group, this ownership group they have put their money where their mouth is.
They have.
They're like, we're going to keep going out.
They have.
We're going to keep bringing in players, and I love that. And so let's shift to a team that doesn't do that because they're afraid. My beloved Chicago Cubs.
Not the A's?
What?
I really thought are Cubs
What
and the
the-
A's similar
No.
in that nature?
I'm not talking about vagrants, okay? I'm not talking about hobos that mask themselves as employed, okay? I'm not talking about squatters. I'm talking about a team that is not going anywhere, but they refuse to do a single thing to help. This bullpen is so bad. It's so bad. It's like if there was a taste, it would be the worst rotted meat you've ever had in your life. Like, it's just, like, I don't trust it. The starters on the Chicago Cubs have done everything they can to keep this game within reach and to keep a lead. They have a lead, for goodness sake. And then you give it to this bullpen, and Craig Counsell, God bless him what he did with the Brewers, but what the hell are you doing here? You have a guy who has proven he can't find himself out of a wet paper bag, and you're going to put him in a game when he has a 3-run lead and just watch him squander it and say, we have no plans to have him stop coming into the back end of the game. That has got to be the most insulting thing I've ever heard as a fan. That is ridiculous. And just that comment alone, you deserve to be fired. Do I want Craig Counsell to be fired? No, I don't. But I guarantee you who's laughing on this couch right now, David Ross. David Ross is laughing because he's like, oh, this record, 36-39, seems oddly familiar to me. Oh, wow. So I don't understand why Jed Hoyer sits in his little pristine golden box laid with, golden sprinkled donuts and sits there and says, oh, we were this close. If we just get a little bit more from this squad, we would be so much better. Well, you're not better. In the words of Bill Parcells, you are who your record says you are. You're not better than the losing team that you are because you're a losing team. Just go out. Go get a bat. Go get someone to play first base. Put Michael Busch at third. Keep Morel at DH. His defense is no longer an issue for you. And then you go out, you go get 2 relievers. For God's sakes, go get a closer. I don't care that the best closers you have are already on the team. They're hurt. They're not even playing. Go buy some players. You have a top 3 farm system, and you're sitting there treating them like you're an episode of Hoarders. What are you, the 600-pound woman who likes old meatloaf dinners in her fridge? Go sell the prospects and go get somebody. I'm so freaking frustrated with this team. I get to go see them this weekend. More on that, folks. And I have been less excited to go to Wrigley Field and watch my beloved Cubs play a game when they are playing like absolute dog crap right now. Came out of, look, that outburst, I just want to say, that has come from the last month of me watching his team and really just trying to hold it in. I've got 5 kids and a wife. They are, and I have held this in to make sure that they stay safe around me. Like it's just, I
I just wanted to sit back and just let you go. And I'm like, oh, he's on his soapbox. He is going at it. You can turn down your volume because it is only getting louder.
but we talk about the Dodgers and about how they just spin. And Jed Hoyer has said we want to be like the Dodgers and the Braves, except I don't want to spend money or trade prospects. Then you don't want to be the Dodgers and the Braves. I don't understand what's going on here. They said, "Oh, maybe we'll buy, but we definitely don't want to sell." Well, then go buy some pieces. What are we doing? Why are you waiting? I mean, we're just going to be a 10 games below 500 and do nothing at the deadline? Oh, my gosh. Oh, it's so, Manny, it's so, this must be what you felt like for a decade, from 2010 until last year, being a
Last
Yankee
year,
fan.
when? Oh, Yankees. I thought you were talking about the Cowboys approach. I'm like, that's still happening. We're still on the same ball.
This must be you felt like even just last year being a Yankee fan. So
Yep.
close. You're not selling, but you're not really going to buy either. What are we doing? What are we doing here? I thought we were trying to win.
For those of you that are listening right now, JB was previously wearing a baseball cap, and he is about 2 seconds away from throwing it across the room right now. He's taking it off, and I see the red vein on his forehead. And if you can't tell,
Oh man,
JB is a Cubs fan. I don't know if we made that pretty clear out, or if you can't really see that he's a Cubs fan. He is indeed a Cubs fan, and he takes it very seriously.
I hate. Oh, go ahead.
No, take a deep breath, JB. It'll all be okay. The trade deadline is not for another 2 months. Well, a month now, actually.
I was going to say last year, the eventual World Series champ Texas Rangers knew their bullpen needed somebody. Chris Young saw that Jose Leclerc was not going to be the guy that was going to get them all the way. They made a May trade with the Royals to go get a Aroldis Chapman. Yeah, and I get it. His mom still breastfeeds him, whatever. But they went out and they brought him they made a trade to better the team. And they eventually won the World Series. Mm-hmm. I don't know why we have to wait. They're like, oh, if you do it now, it's going to cost too much. If you wait until then, it's going to cost even more because more teams are going to try to trade for them. So you pay the same price now or 2 months from now. Just pay it now. Go get the guy. Just go get him. I don't care who it is. But cutting your 37-year-old catcher and signing the throwaway from the New York Mets, that's not solving the catcher situation, Jed. That's not solving it.
Okay. Did you get that off your chest a little bit? Just a little bit.
You know what? I could go on for another day. Let's roll along.
Let's analyze the rest of the league. What's going on in the rest of the league?
Yeah. The Phillies are absolutely just doing Philly things right now. Unreal things. And they just got Trey Turner back. All this talk about, just Kyle Schwarber is just, I don't want to talk about Kyle Schwarber because the Cubs let him go for nothing. Okay. Let's
oh yeah, that'll remind you. Why
don't you talk about the Phillies? Because it's just going to piss me off.
How about we just skip the Phillies?
I can't talk about anybody. I can't talk about anybody.
Anybody is right now is opening of some deep, deep wounds for you. So how about we just do an overview? We'll just do an overview of where we are in the MLB season. We'll just run through it and just we won't address players. We'll make sure JB's mental health is in place because he's not right now. He's on the brink of something major.
I love that. Let's do that. Let's do that.
um, so
I
the
would like to. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the Pirates in your favorite NL Central, they're still hanging around in second place. The Milwaukee Brewers are somehow
Mhm.
still leading that division, so whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that the
Yeah.
Cubs are, the Cubs are right there too. So there's a silver lining. Everything is jam packed in that division. So
Yeah.
silver lining,
Yeah.
anything is up for grabs in that division. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're there.
Yeah.
What were you
Yeah.
gonna address?
I was just gonna real quick because we need to move on to another segment. I wanted to bring up just how bad luck the Orioles are right now. So
Yep.
they just had another member of the rotation, Kyle Bradish, who honestly is the third best pitcher in that rotation behind Grayson Rodriguez and Corbin Burns. He along with he's out for the year now with Tommy John.
Yep.
John Means is out for the year. Tyler Wells
Uh-huh.
is out for an extended period of time getting an elbow brace. I wouldn't be surprised. We talked about the Dodgers making that blockbuster to go get a starter. Baltimore did almost nothing this offseason. They went and got
Right.
Corbin Burns. That's great. But that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore needs to really do something at the trade deadline. They need to go get a bona fide starter. Go look at any team that has a just call the Marlins. Call the Marlins right now and go get any one. Go get Jesus Luzardo from them. Go get any one of the starters from them, and then bring them into Baltimore because Baltimore they don't need one. They need two starting pitchers. They need
Mm-hmm.
two. And
Well, they've
I
lost.
would
They're
venture to
dropping
guess,
like
yeah,
flies. they're
they
they're
are.
catching the freaking injury bug.
Yeah, I would say whatever team you call, go get two of their starters and a closer, because Craig
Mm-hmm.
Kimbrell's not going to cut it for you. Because again, not another Cub who disappointed me. Just like you need to go out. You need to get two starters. You need to get a closer. Baltimore's got a great core moving forward, but Scott Elias, he's got to start now. The GM of the Baltimore Orioles, he's got to start now building
Mm-hmm.
this team to be a perennial, not just playoff team, but World Series contender. And that starts now. You've got all of these players. Do it now. Don't wait till next year. Don't wait till the offseason. You go out and you go do it now.
Mm.
I would. I so.
I think they're a year early. I think they're from what we've
I
seen. The
think
Orioles are trying to
last
build from
year.
within.
Yeah, they are. They are. I think last year they were early. They surprised everyone last year. But now that we've seen it, I'm not saying that I still think the Orioles could win the World Series,
You
but that
do.
only now if they go out and get two starters.
Okay.
It's like I could this team as it's constructed right now cannot win the World Series.
Right.
If they as when the season began, absolutely they could. But now, no. They need to go out. They need to get a couple starters. They need to get a clean bullpen arm, someone who can work two innings for you at the end of games. If they don't do that, then they're not. They'll probably still make the playoffs,
Oh yeah.
but
No, for sure.
but
They will.
but World Series, no,
No.
they won't. They won't last. No.
See, the thing with the Orioles is that I'm hoping they just have a very everything that points to the fact that they do, but I'm hoping they have a very patient organization because I don't think they'll win the World Series this year. Last year they got swept
Yeah.
right in the playoffs, so I don't think they'll win the World Series this year. But I hope they don't start doing this panic thing where they start selling and buying things after building such
Yeah.
a strong foundation, a really great farm system from within.
Yeah.
So hopefully they
Yeah.
just sit tight, let the pieces fall as they continue to fall and let
Yeah.
those players. I think what they're lacking is the experience. I don't think they're missing things. Now, yeah, okay, the injuries, sure, their injuries are like something that needs to be addressed, but they just need the
Yeah.
experience. If that means
They do. Yeah.
being competitive in the playoffs and not making it all the way, fine, but take that with a grain of salt and move on, and just know that all those reps are going to be reps for the future, not for this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Well, so anyways,
yeah.
are you
Yeah.
ready, JB?
All right.
Are we ready to jump into our segments?
I'm ready to jump into anything other than what I was just doing. Please. Let's do it. Yeah.
We will be building our Mount Rushmores of the NFL teams. Are you ready for this? Is your mind in the right place?
My mind is ready. I'm in the right place. Yes.
Okay. Let's spin the wheel for you, okay?
Okay, do it.
JB, what
Okay.
is your number?
My number is the number 4.
You, my friend, get the number 4 Bengals. What is your
Ooh.
Mount Rushmore?
Ooh, this is an AFL team too. They were a football team before the NFL snatched them up. Okay.
Yeah.
Or before the merger.
What or whatever I was gonna say, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah. Um Number 1 has got to be Anthony Munoz, one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game, ever. This dude modeled what it was like not only to be an offensive lineman, but how to do it with toughness, how to do it well.
Mm-hmm.
So Anthony Munoz is my number 1. Off the top of my head, I got to go with Boomer Esiason. He was, I believe, he actually took them to the Super Bowl once against the Niners. I think it was. I think it was against the Niners, and then if I'm correct, I'll go with Ken Anderson. I think Ken Anderson also took them to the Super Bowl. And then so far I have Anthony Munoz, I have Ken Anderson, and I have Boomer Esiason.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I could go. Shoot. I mean, Ocho Cinco was just fun to watch. He was just
Yes.
so much fun to watch. There was a defensive back for them during the Munoz, Anderson, and Boomer years. Less than the Boomer years. Boomer was like later in the 80s. But he's like top 5 in interceptions, I think it is. And so all time. I want to throw a bone to the listeners here who really don't know the AFL. But if I'm gonna do a Mount Rushmore, I'll go. I will go. Shoot, I don't know. Chad Johnson was so good, but Ken Riley only played for Cincinnati. He only played for them. But Ocho Cinco was only fun with the Bengals. He was fun with
He
no one
was.
else. Well, he only
Also
played
true.
for the Patriots other than the Bengals. So, I'm going to go Ocho Cinco.
Okay.
Just to kind of spread out the timeline here, because I can even go Andrew Whitworth. I can even go Joe Burrow. because he led the Bengals to the Super Bowl against the Rams. I could do Vontez Burfict just to piss people off, but
So
no,
you don't.
I'll go Ocho Cinco. Ken Anderson, Boomer Esiason, and Anthony Munoz. Ken Riley gets an honorable mention. So does Joe Burrow. So does Andrew Whitworth.
There's no room on the Mount Rushmore for a honorable mention. There's only 4 heads on honorable mention on the
I
Mount Rushmore,
just
so you don't
gave the
get to
4,
give
okay?
a honorable
I
mention
gave
to anything
the
on Mount Rushmore, JB.
Okay.
And you hear my gripe against your honorable mention?
Yes, you said there's no place on a Mount Rushmore for honorable mentions.
There is not.
Yes.
There's room for 4 heads.
Yes. I heard you. I heard you. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Okay. I'm gonna base this off of who played for the Bengals the most. Okay. And out of those players I mentioned, the older ones, Boomer Esiason played for 2 other teams other than the Bengals. Played for the Jets, and I think he ended his career with the Cardinals. I think it was. I think this was before Jake Plummer. So I'm gonna go Anthony Munoz, Ken Anderson, Ken Riley, and Chad Ochocinco.
Okay. Locking it
Those are
in.
my 4.
Locking it in.
Those are my 4.
Okay.
Those are my 4. Yes. Okay.
My constructive criticism. It's like a minimal thing, and it's literally only my opinion. I have a hard time putting an offensive lineman on a Mount Rushmore, just as a personal preference. They have to completely dominate.
Anthony Munoz is arguably the greatest player in Bengals history. I mean, ask anybody. You ask anybody who the greatest player, okay, I can sit there and be like, maybe Ochocinco, maybe Ken Riley, maybe Joe Burrow, Ken Anderson, Boomer Esiason. Anthony Munoz is arguably the greatest player in franchise history. I can't not put him.
I mean,
And
let's put Carson Palmer above him. I don't know.
Carson Palmer? What? What's the matter with you?
Calm down, JB. Calm down. But I will say AJ Green should be. There was even a he was even a topic of conversation for your Mount Rushmore. Not even a consideration.
Well, there's no honorable mentions, so
Well, there's not. But
I
yeah, at
just
least
stopped talking.
I thought you were gonna
I stopped talking.
consider it, but not give him an honorable
No.
mention.
So what you have to understand is that the Bengals were, I mean, they were an AFL team before they were an NFL team, but their best years were like the 80s. So like their best players came from that time frame.
Right.
Except, I mean, Ocho wasn't in the 80s, but Anthony Munoz is like he's one of the best to ever, not just in Bengals history, but one of the best to ever do it at his position. And I guarantee you, there's a few teams I can think of that if you end up drawing that team, there's an offensive lineman in there. There's an offensive lineman on that Mount Rushmore. I guarantee it.
That just goes to show that the Bengals haven't had too impressive. If a lineman comes,
They haven't. They haven't. I'm not saying this isn't a defense that the Bengals are like loaded with greats. I'm just saying they were loaded with greats 40 years ago. Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so those are your picks. We'll move on from that. We'll let the viewers and the listeners decide where you hit the mark. Okay?
Go ahead.
Let's go with my spin of the wheel.
This is a long spin.
I don't control the wheel. I don't control the wheel.
What's
All
your
right.
What's your number? What's your number?
Number 30.
Number 30. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, God.
Trevor Lawrence, number one.
Trevor,
Number one.
Trevor Lawrence, all-time greatest player. This is all.
I can't. Look, before you speak, I can think of 3 players from the 90s that deserve to be on this list.
3 players from the
3.
90s.
Maybe. Well, that's when they started.
Well,
So
yeah.
maybe 4.
So, like, they just started kicking asses. This is how you're interpreting. Or are you saying they've been
There are
mediocre
4
since
players I can think of. 4. 4
Okay.
players I can think of that deserve to be on this list.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Let me think.
Easily. And they all played at the same time. The same time.
Well, that makes it easy. You're just probably remembering one good year they had. They haven't had many of those. So I think the easiest, probably the
Blaine Gabbert, yes.
no, not like Gabbert. Not Blaine Gabbert. No, the actually easiest would be Maurice Jones. Drew, was it Drew? Maurice Jones Drew? MJD?
MJD?
Yeah.
Okay.
He would be the easiest
one.
I would have to say is one of the players that you're thinking of Jimmy Smith, the wide receiver?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in agreement on that. So far I'm 2 for 2 on your list, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
You got one right.
Wait, you didn't have Maurice Jones-Drew as one of your. Okay, whatever. Next will be Tony Boselli. I think he was the official.
Boselli. Yes.
Boselli. Boselli. You understood what I was getting at. He was the first, officially the first ever draft pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars when they finally came into the league.
Yep.
So that's 3. Here's my plot twist. My 4th is not a player. My 4th is actually the owner, Shahid Khan.
Shad Khan?
Yes, Shad Khan. Yeah, what do you? He's been.
Why?
Because here's my reasoning for it. So, what?
I give up. Please finish your reasoning.
Here's my reasoning for it. His team has been mediocre, sure, and since they haven't really done anything besides the 1 year that they made it to the champ. But here's my reasoning: he's been quick with making sure that if he sees somebody that's bad for the organization, he's gotten rid of them. He's quick fire with making sure that he has the right people in place with the organization. And you might disagree with this for me, but I love what he has done, making the Jaguars the international team for the Europe international games that have been happening. He's the one that's been the driving force behind the Jaguars being the team that are the regular team playing in London. So that's my reasoning. Bash me all you want. I want to hear why you don't have Maurice Jones-Drew as one of yours. First off,
because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Fred Taylor was a more prolific running back than MJD was.
Well,
I believe he was.
Okay.
I believe Fred Taylor had more rushing yards than MJD did.
Well, again,
and
I'm not from the 90s when I was growing up watching football, so maybe he was.
And my other person was Mark Brunell.
Okay.
The quarterback of the expansion Jaguars. You don't remember this because you were born in 97?
5.
95. So they came into existence, I think, 93.
Hmm.
1995, they went to the AFC Championship game. So Mark Brunell was the quarterback, Baselli was there, Fred Taylor was there, and Jimmy Smith was there. So for me, I just remember Mark Brunell was one of my favorite NFL players of all time. And so when you pick the Jaguars, my first thought is, oh, Mark Brunell. And need I say, why do you have an offensive lineman on your Mount Rushmore?
Who?
I don't understand.
Who's my offensive lineman?
Tony
Oh,
Baselli.
Tony Baselli, yes.
I don't understand.
But
No,
I
you
didn't
can't
pla-
have that.
I didn't
You
place
can't
him
have
there.
you can't
I
have an offensive lineman as
I
your
didn't
on your
place
Mount
him
Rushmore.
there as a lineman. I didn't place him there as a lineman. I placed him there as the first pick and still being a good player.
Okay, that's just so stupid.
You're
Okay,
you're
no,
stupid.
because he's still he's that's good. Yeah, great comeback, mimicking me. I will give you Shad Khan in the sense that yes, he has done more for this franchise to make it more international, to make it more of an international brand.
Well,
He
no.
has
Here's
done
the
what he
thing.
can.
He's not making just the franchise the international whatever. He has been the pioneer for the international games.
That's true too.
So that's why I'm viewing it like that. Yes, he just happens to also have a team that he like, oh well, I want to play. Want to make sure my team is part of it. But overall, he has been the pioneer behind it. So that's part of it too.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so you laughed at it, but then you're like, okay, you can make sense out of it. I'll take that as a win.
I didn't say I make sense of it.
Wait,
I
wait.
just said, look, I will concede. Okay.
Okay, that sounds like
I
sense
will
to me.
concede things. I will concede some things.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
let's go over your team's record. How about that? And then I
Okay,
will
hold
sit
on.
here and
Let me
judge
pull
you.
up the schedule here.
I have it
You
ready
can
for
judge
you.
me all you want.
I have it ready here in front of me whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Let's go with the Cincinnati Bengals schedule.
Week 1, they will be hosting the Patriots.
Win.
Okay. Week 2, they will be going to Kansas City to play the Chiefs.
Loss.
Week 3, they host the Commanders.
The Redskins.
The Commanders. Are you really thinking about this
I said the same
much?
thing. I don't know why. I don't know why you're repeating yourself. I am thinking about it this much. I am.
The Bengals. The Cincinnati
Let's give
Bengals.
the Bengals the W.
Oh, thank
Let's
God.
give the Bengals the W.
Thank God. Week
Oh, you
4.
hate the Redskins, huh?
Week
All right,
4,
go
they
ahead.
will go to Carolina to play the Panthers. God, you better not think 20 seconds about this one.
This one's tricky. No, the Bengals win. Okay.
Week 5, they will host the Ravens.
Win. Because I don't know what Lamar Jackson's going to show up.
Oh, wow. That's actually going to be a really good matchup if both of them are healthy. Week 6,
Yeah.
they will go to New York and play the Giants.
At the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
W.
Week 7, at the Cleveland Browns.
I'm going to put an L for that one.
Why? You're getting a little nervous that they won 5 in a row?
No, it's only because when the Bengals play interdivision games, I don't trust them nearly as much. I just don't.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, the AFC North is like it's got the most parity within a division.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like any team can play any team, and it's a coin flip.
It's a gauntlet of a division too.
Yeah.
Week 8, they host the Eagles.
hate the Eagles.
Yeah, you better.
Let's do W for that one.
For the Bengals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Week 9, they host the Raiders.
That is an L for them.
Wow. Oh, sorry, I can't voice my opinions on the Raiders. Week 10,
You already did.
at the Ravens.
I'm gonna say an L for that one.
So they're 6-4 going into week 11,
Yeah,
which way they will be visiting the Chargers.
that's a W.
Okay, they go into the bye
Okay.
week and they're 7-5.
Yeah.
Week 13, they will go to the Steelers.
L.
Week 14, they will host the Cowboys.
Ooh. The Cowboys in Cincinnati in November.
No, yes, the Cowboys.
I'm gonna say
no.
I'm gonna say
they're at Dallas.
Oh, they're at Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, that changes things.
Mhm.
I'm still gonna say a win, so it doesn't change anything really. Okay, I'm gonna say a win.
Oh, big shocker for
Yeah.
that one. Week 15, moving on. Week 15 at the Titans, your Super Bowl winning champions.
At the Titans, I'm gonna say that's a W for the Bengals.
Week 16, they host the Browns.
W.
Week 17, they host the Broncos. I know you hate the Broncos.
I don't hate the Broncos, but I think by week 17 the Broncos will have figured something out for the next season. And the
Yeah.
Broncos won't be playing for a playoff spot. They'll be playing spoiler.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say L. I'm gonna say L.
And then they finish in. They finish going to the Steelers.
Okay, and that's part of the reason why I say they L, because they're looking toward that Steeler game. So
they'll win that game. Is that what you're saying?
They're at home against Pittsburgh.
No, they're going to Pittsburgh.
They're going to Pittsburgh. Okay. So week 13 they host Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yes.
I will say. I'll say a W there. Okay.
So they finished 10-7.
11-6.
Where did I miscounted for you? But okay, 11-6.
So I got New England 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 11 wins. Yeah.
Okay.
They finished 11-6. That's a Bengals record right there.
Is that a division winners record?
I don't know. I think Baltimore is going to come back with a vengeance.
Okay.
For what happened last year.
Yet to a TBD.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Let's do Jacksonville for you, shall we? Okay.
My favorite team in the world. Actually, I don't have anything against Jacksonville.
These guys.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Disclaimer: I don't actually have anything. I just don't believe in
hate Trevor
Lawrence. Let's go.
Feel bad for his wife. Yep. Okay.
Give it to me. What do we got?
At Miami, week 1.
Miami wins, so Jacksonville lost.
Okay. Week 2, they are hosting Cleveland.
A win. Jacksonville wins.
A win. Week 3, they are at Buffalo.
I feel like Buffalo is going to take a little bit to figure out who they are now that they traded Diggs. So I will say they beat the Bills.
W.
Yes.
Okay. Week 4 at I don't know why I'm asking you. At Houston. L. Okay. Right.
Whoa, hey, whoa, slow down.
Let's just go to week 5. Week 5, they host Indy.
I just don't get to make my own. I am a grown man. I get to make my own decisions. But yes, L.
All right, okay. They're going to Houston. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, now they're hosting the Colts. Week 5.
Week 5, they'll beat the Colts.
Okay. Week 6. I would have guessed that one too. They host Chicago.
They week 6 at Chicago. You know what?
No, host.
They host Chicago. I'm seeing they are at Chicago.
They host Chicago.
Well, something's wrong with the schedule you're looking at and the schedule I'm looking at. But either way,
I'm looking at the schedule grid. Yeah, they host Chicago.
I,
Either way, are they going to beat the Bears or not?
I don't think so.
You're going to lose to the Bears?
Yeah, the Bears will be. The Bears are going to be this random team that sneaks wins from random ass teams. I'm not banking on the Bears to do anything major, but they'll steal some wins.
Look, I don't hate the Jaguars. I just, they're worse than the Bears. They host New England.
They'll beat the New England.
Okay. Week 8, they host Green Bay.
Green Bay will win. I say that's an L.
For that one.
Yep.
Week 9, they are at Philly. W.
Yep. Yes.
Week 10, they host the Vikings.
Actually, let's backtrack one. Let's backtrack to
What?
the Eagles. The Eagles have this tendency of knowing what the hell they're doing early on in the season. And once it's double digits into the season, then they fall off. So I'll give the Eagles a win week 9.
L?
Yeah.
Okay. You give them a win against the Vikings?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Week 11 at Detroit.
I say they beat Detroit.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think
not hating the Jaguars. Their bye week, week 12. Week 13. They host Houston. L.
Yes. No. Houston loses. They'll beat Houston. Yeah.
I thought you had the state of Texas undefeated this year. Week 14 at Tennessee.
I don't have any belief in Tennessee whatsoever. I think they'll beat Tennessee. But that division is weird. They figure each other out so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Week 15, they host the Jets.
They host the Jets. I'll say that's an L.
Okay. Week 16, they are at your beloved Raiders.
My 2 favorite teams. They'll beat the Raiders.
Yep. Wow. They lose to the Jets, but they beat the Raiders. Okay, yeah.
That's not
unreasonable. Mental issues.
Okay. That's not unreasonable.
Week 17, they host Tennessee.
They'll beat Tennessee the second time.
Okay. And then to close out the season, they are at Indy.
They'll sweep Indy. They'll win.
Okay.
Let me guess. I didn't keep count. 9 and 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have them 11 and 6.
Okay. That's better than I thought I was going to have them at once I sit down and do the math.
That's better than the Jaguars have them at. So, yeah.
Okay, that's not
now
bad.
I know you have a secret love. You have a secret love.
My secret love for the Jaguars, a whole 11 wins.
Now we know.
All right. Well, what's the next series? What's the next section we have coming up, JB?
Our fix of 6.
I'll start us off right here.
Do it.
For Manny's fix of 6. Number 3, JB's favorite player, Trevor Lawrence, signed an extension with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Perfect segue.
Yeah, he
Perfect.
did. Woo! Yeah.
He signed a 5-year, $275 million extension, which includes $200 million guaranteed, $142 million at signing. So, good job, Trevor Lawrence. One playoff win gets you $200 million in this economy. Whatever. Jacksonville, I don't know what the hell you're doing. You could have waited another year to sign the man to see what the hell he was going to do this year, but you're confident. Let Florida be confident. Manny's number 2, fix of 6. The Pistons, our beloved Pistons, have fired Monty Williams after signing him last spring. 1 year.
Oh man.
They
What?
fired him.
You know, I have some thoughts on that. It's like when you're like, hey, remember that first round pick from 2020 who hasn't amounted to anything other than the worst scorer in NBA history? Yeah, let's start him above Jaden Ivey. Yeah, let's do that. And let's give Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham 2 months to work together.
Yeah.
Well, of course you're not going to figure it out in 2 months.
What
It's the
a-
end of the season.
They gave him a 6-year, $78 million contract, which was a first record deal at the time.
Record.
Oh, they broke a record. They were so confident they didn't care what they were paying the man. And then a year later, they said, never mind, take our money and run away with it. That is, if I've ever seen a man being better at bank heists, Monty Williams is the man for your job. I think he left when Phoenix fired him. I think he left with $40 million from him that they still owed him, and now they owe him another $50 from the Pistons.
I do have a theory for that. I'll share after we're both done. Yeah.
Okay.
Go to your last one.
So number 1, JB has been waiting his entire life for this moment. Manny's number 1 pick, the relocated Utah NHL team, has announced their new colors and their new name. And drum roll, please. The Utah new hockey team will be the Utah Hockey Club.
Shut up! Oh, that's so lame! Oh, come on!
Yep, and they're going to go with a white. Well, their primary color is going to be a hint of sky blue and a background of white, with their logo being the state of Utah.
Wear to your door.
And their logo looks like it's going to be the Utah State emblem, the shape of Utah, the state. So, congratulations, Utah!
Oh, that is so lame.
Fucked it up again.
So lame. They're gonna dress them up like Mormons and not call them the door knockers. Oh, what is this? Oh, come on! Oh,
And this
you
is-
messed it up.
Let me remind you, though, this was fan vote based. I don't know if this was like the fans just thinking they were being funny, but they voted, and they voted for the hockey club, so that's what you get. That is what they're going with.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed in
Might as
Utah.
well just have left it the Utah Coyotes from their Arizona name, but whatever. That is officially.
This is
That.
this is like when the New Orleans Jazz left to go to Utah and kept Jazz, and everyone's like, "Where's the Jazz in Utah? You should have been the Utah the basketball club.
Yep.
And then the hockey team should have been the Utah Door Knockers. I mean, my goodness, they're already dressing them up like the Mormons. This is ridiculous. Okay.
I knew you'd love that. JB, take it away.
Oh man. Oh, I hate that surprise so much. JB's fix of 6. Number 3. I just came across probably the most the most baller story ever of an NFL football player. On a recent podcast, it was announced. It was discussed that during a game, I think against the New York Giants, Ronnie Lott, famed DB from the Niners, broke his pinky, and the doctor said, you can't play this game because you have a broken pinky. And Ronnie Lott said, okay, we'll cut it off. And the doctor said, say what now? And he said, if you cut my pinky off, can I play? And the doctor said, I guess you can play if you cut it off. He said, okay, cut it off. So now Ronnie Lott has half a pinky just so he can go play this game.
What?
I mean, oh my goodness, this is insane.
I love that story.
That's so wild. That's so wild.
That's
and
great.
I love every single.
That is so good.
Oh man. Now you can't have guys join the military, not because they can't have guns, but because they've been triggered before. But this guy he cut off his pinky just to play a game.
One game. Let's be clear. It was
JB,
one game.
One game. Well, I didn't grow back. It's not like he has starfish blood. So he played every game without it. So JP's fix of 6, number 2. Manny, this is for you. Micah Parsons is on the record for saying, if I played 162 games in MLB season, I could probably hit 200. Well, CJ Stroud, quarterback from next door, said, there you are, folks. Delusion at its finest.
Nice.
And I'm only guessing that CJ and Micah are friends because they were out wrestling with that fat guy in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Or the sumo wrestlers, what we're supposed to call them. But yeah, so I'm guessing they're friends.
So you're just talking crap, but
the fact that that was so funny. JB's number 1 fix of 6. Yours truly will be at Wrigley Field this weekend. Yay! So be on the lookout for some live show content from Wrigley and from Wrigleyville itself. I'll be walking around Wrigleyville on Friday. I'll be in Wrigley on Saturday. Stay tuned for some live content coming to you guys on TikTok.
heck yes. And that is everybody's fix of 6.
I'm going to relate my stick here.
That was a great session. I knew I'd catch you off guard with the football, the freaking hockey club.
The Utah Hockey Club. Oh, man. Oh, that's so lame.
I knew you'd love that. That was like the one I was like, that must be the one that's going to like not even be into consideration initially. And nope. They had what was it? Blizzards. They had the Yetis.
Blizzard.
They had the freaking they had really good names, and they chose not to choose them. This is why we don't leave. This is why we don't leave decisions to the popular vote, because it's not always the right vote. Go ahead.
If you're gonna address them like the LDS Church, at least name them the door knockers.
That'd be hilarious.
At least, I mean, come on.
No, we want to be non-discriminatory, so we will call them the hockey club.
The Utah middle of the day annoyance. I mean, at least call them that. The Utah dinner disruptors. I mean, anything. You're gonna address them that way, you may as well.
It's bad. But I knew that would be a great one for you. I knew you'd love that.
I'm so glad you didn't tell me beforehand. That sucks, man. Oh, that's so lame. What are you drinking?
JB, I'm trying something different today. This is box scores and bourbon.
What are you trying?
And I am not drinking bourbon. I, instead, am drinking brandy. So not too far off.
Ooh.
Yes.
Classy.
Yes.
Ooh, look at you.
I found myself a small
like the
bottle.
Gossip Girl brandy. XOXO.
Yep. It's actually what it says. XO. I'm drinking some E&J brandy, American brandy, 80 proof. So Here's the thing:
Nice.
I never had a brand new before, so I didn't know what to expect. So this is honestly
Yeah.
a first timer review. It tastes like whiskey
Okay.
or like a bourbon, but the aftertaste, you know how the whiskey has that like very like I always call it like a punch you in the face burn, like that really oaty, like
Yeah.
weedy taste. This doesn't have that because
Mm-hmm.
I researched it. It's like
Mm.
it's fruit based, so it goes down really, really smooth. It's good. I might be trying more brandies now that
Okay.
I've tasted this one. I didn't want to buy a full bottle, duh. But little one. It was
Where'd you get that bottle? Did you bum it off a homeless man?
I bought it on base. I bought it on base. It was a legit purchase from a legit distributor. I bought it and it was on sale.
Okay.
So I tried it out. Yes. So all legitimate here. What are you
Okay.
drinking?
I am drinking this small batch Bib and Tucker bourbon.
I like the
So
bottle, first
I
off.
have a friend. This is one of those. It's aged 6 years. It's a 92 proof. It goes down real smooth. I've had no problems with it. I built a clubhouse on Monday, and my body is still recovering. My stupid 38-year-old body is still recovering, and so I decided to. I was like, well, I'll drink this 92 proof Bib and Tucker, and then I will smoke an M81 triple Maduro blackened cigar. Now, for
Nice.
those who aren't familiar, blackened is the collab between Drew Estates and Metallica. They have a shade and they have this triple Maduro. This triple Maduro is for people who have full strength and whose bodies aren't breaking down. But yours truly
Is
was like, I'm gonna roll the dice and I'm gonna smoke this during the podcast and maybe not pass out. It's been wonderful. I've smoked this plenty of times. I've never had an issue with a blackened ever. The problem with Drew Estates though is they roll their cigars so tight. It's sometimes incredibly difficult to get a good draft out of it, and so you have to
mm,
kind of roll it beforehand. But that was one of the criticisms of the blackened when it first came out. I've smoked probably a dozen of these. I've never had an issue with it. So, yet again, another win for Drew Estates.
there you go. Kudos. That bottle,
Yeah.
a bottle is legit and the production of it is legit if they cork their bottles for anything. Not many
Yeah.
bottles come
Mm-hmm.
corked
So
nowadays.
does
So
this.
yeah. So
Boom. Yeah.
heck yeah.
No,
All
it's
right.
nice. Yeah. It's
Nice.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, guys, thanks. This ends of the episode. Manny, take it away.
yeah, thank you everybody for listening and watching once again. As you already know, we are on YouTube, Box Scores and Bourbon. We have our channel on there. We are also on Spotify under Box Scores and Bourbon. You can come and leave us some comments on both. You can come and please come follow us as JB continues to reiterate. We want to hit 100 followers by the end of this year. That is our goal. That is our vision. It is a smart goal. So we are looking forward to continuing to grow our channel. We are on all the typical social medias. We have an Instagram page and we have a TikTok page. Find us under BSB Sports 24. That is BSB Sports 24. We come up and we regularly post great content. TikTok has been blowing up lately. Our TikTok has been
Mm-hmm.
receiving a lot of interactions, a lot of discussions, a lot of things coming back and forth. So if you want to be a part of it,
Yes.
check us out there. Until next time,
Yes.
stay thirsty, my friends, as one great man once said.
That was me. Have a great weekend, folks.